but mostly to parents and students in Year 9 who are going through the options process. By now, you should be looking at this if you are interested in the BTec First in Sport course, which is the course provided by the PE department. I am just going to go through a little presentation and talk over the top in the hope that you can go back through and there's some things written down that might help you out as well. So although this is a BTec course, not a GCSE, it is the equivalent of one GCSE. It's a 2-year course, which is assessed continually throughout the 2 years. So you will have assessments at Year 10 and there are assessments at Year 11. That's important to mention because it's not just coming down to an examination or an assessment at the end of the 2 years, it's ongoing throughout. The qualification will include both internally and externally marked assessments. What I mean by that is coursework and some examinations. The coursework elements make up 3 of the 4 units, which we'll go through shortly. And there is only one externally marked piece of work, which is an examination. It's an online examination, so it's carried out on a computer with lots of different types of question, multiple choice, select, short answer and long answer questions. And the way that we carry out the course, we normally carry out that Unit 1 externally marked examination at the end of Year 10, so in the summer term of Year 10, to avoid the other examination series in Year 11. So this slide just goes through how the course is made up. As I've already alluded to, there are 4 units, which you will have to complete all 4 in order to receive the full qualification. 2 units are completed during the first year of study, so Year 10, as I've said. Those units are Unit 1, Fitness for Sport and Exercise, and that unit is the externally examined unit, which is the online test. As the title probably suggests, that's a lot about training and fitness and different types of exercise, the principles of training, the components of fitness. Really, really interesting in terms of kind of preparing for coaching or all elements of sport, really, teaching. Unit 2, the practical sports performance, that unit is, as it probably suggests, contains 2 practical sports which you'll be assessed in. So this course does include a practical element. 2 sports are assessed, but alongside that unit, there is also quite a large, lengthy piece of coursework. So that's written work, again, done on the computer, but it involves you kind of understanding the rules, the regulations, the scoring systems, how the officials work within those 2 selected sports. Just to return to that one, to make sure you're all prepared fully, we would expect that most people would come in with one kind of selected or chosen sport that you have more knowledge about. Maybe it's a sport you've played a lot through club sport or a club at school, that you would have in-depth knowledge of that one sport. Some people will have 2 sports that they know a great deal about, and they can use those 2 sports if they're in that position. If you're not in that position and you're kind of very much focused on one, then we will generally put students through badminton as their second choice of sport. The further 2 units that are completed during the second year of study, so during Year 11, excuse me, Unit 3, applying the principles of personal training, and Unit 4, the mind and sports performance. Both of these units are coursework units. Unit 3, applying the principles of personal training, is something known as a synoptic unit. So what that means is it draws on elements from all the other units that you cover. That one involves designing your own training program and evaluating it and getting to understand your body a little bit more, the muscles, the bones, the heart, the respiratory systems, and how they will affect your level of fitness and how they work when you exercise. Unit 4, the mind and sports performance, is all about sports psychology. So how things like motivation or goal setting or personality will affect you in different sporting situations. So it's a very varied course. In terms of what to expect if you were to choose this course, you will have 2 hours a week for just BTec sport lessons. That's on top of the 2 hours of core PE that you'll currently be getting in year 9. You continue through Q stage 4, having 2 hours of core PE per week, which is the practical running around sport. The BTec sport lessons, however, to prepare you, are not that running around kind of sport. They are 2 hours of classroom lessons. Okay, so you have 2 hours of classroom lessons per week, which will cover those classroom-based exam and coursework elements. On top of that 2 hours, you get 2 hours of core PE per week, which everyone does. That is the running around stuff, but one of your 2 will be specifically aimed at BTec sport. So that will be a badminton lesson, as we discussed, to make sure that that unit 2 work is covered and prepared for. So if you don't like badminton, prepare that BTec sport will have a lot of badminton in it. I just wanted to mention the grading, because for BTec, grading is slightly different to GCSE. You'll probably be well aware by now that the GCSE grading is from 1 to 9, and BTec grading is slightly different. So it's a level 1 pass from the bottom, which is the equivalent of approximately a grade 3 at GCSE. And then slightly different, a pass, which is considered a level 2, which is what we want to be at for GCSE, is therefore the equivalent of a grade 4 or 5 at GCSE. And a merit is the equivalent of a grade 6, 7 at GCSE. And gaining a distinction is the equivalent of a grade 8, 9 at GCSE. So each of your assignments will have certain criteria that are either pass, merit, or distinction criteria. And if you get all of those criteria ticked off in your assignment, then you'll gain a distinction. If obviously you only get the pass criteria, then you gain a pass in that assignment. And those grades are put to the exam board, and then they calculate your overall grade. Obviously, if you came out with 4 distinctions, you would gain a distinction at the end. In terms of what your lessons will look like, because they are going to be quite different to core PE, there are some practical lessons, but obviously only 1 hour a week, and that is within your core PE time. And as I've mentioned, a lot of that will be badminton. So prepare that those lessons are quite competitive, they're in mixed groups. It's all about learning to perform the skills to the best of your ability, to play within a game, but also to officiate those activities and really understand the ins and outs of the rules. There's also a large element of fitness and fitness testing and different training methods, which I mentioned are required for that Unit 1 exam in Year 1 of study, and also for that Unit 3 in Year 2 of study in Year 11. So lots of highly competitive practicals. So here in the pictures, you can see quite a lot of fitness testing going on, and fitness testing is part of the course, which helps you for your examination and also for that Unit 3 coursework in Year 11. So the pictures are just showing an Illinois agility run, skin fold testing, vertical jump testing, but we do tests for all the different components of fitness, including speed and aerobic endurance and power and strength. So lots of activity so that you can understand how that practical goes into that examination work. So understanding how the tests work, how to carry them out, how to tell how good someone is, how to train them if they're showing an area of weakness. As I've also mentioned, a lot of the classroom lessons will be computer room based, because you'll receive elements of teaching so that you have that learning, but then there is time set aside to be independently working with your teacher, kind of stepping in when required to type up that coursework. So there is an element of independent learning and production of work in there, which obviously involves lots of computer work. There's some things to consider when choosing this course. You must be willing to work hard and carry out independent study to complete coursework tasks for assessment, because it is ongoing assessment throughout the 2 years. So you can't just wait for an exam at the end of 2 years. You're expected to be handing in work kind of every month at least, which is officially part of your qualification. So it's ongoing work. But on the flip side, if you're someone who doesn't enjoy formal examinations as much, there is only the one online examination at the end of year 10. And what I should have mentioned is for BTec, you are permitted, although obviously it's not suggested, that you are allowed one retake of that examination. So if you are someone who maybe struggles with formal exams, then that might take the pressure off you a little bit. It's also essential to have an enjoyment of sport. So we would recognise that by someone who's maybe part of a team or is representing the college in the sport, or they might be doing it in the community. So they might play for Okehampton or Okehampton Hockey Club, but some kind of enjoyment or interest in sport is going to be essential to carry out this course. It will also help you a great deal in that practical sports performance unit too, in order to get down all your knowledge of sport. We would want you to be inquisitive about how the body and mind work and how this impacts your sports performance. Obviously, you need to have an interest in that area in order to again, enjoy the work that you would need to do, particularly for that Unit 3 work, where we look at how those things affect our performance in sport. So everything comes back to sport. And lastly, just to be aware that we need you to be confident and willing to participate in practical sports, because that is part of the qualification for that Unit 2, and also for Unit 1 and Unit 3 in terms of the fitness tests. And obviously those groups will be mixed, which they're not always for core PE. So being confident to participate practically in sports within competitive mixed groups would also be essential for the course. If you do have any more questions, feel free to contact anyone in the PE department, because we love our subject and we know the course really well. We've been doing it a number of years. So if you have any specific questions, please feel free to ask, but hopefully I've covered most things there. I hope if you're watching this that you're inspired to join us on this course. I think it's really varied. I think it covers a lot of things, including, you know, our mind, the psychology, our body, how it works, how best to do training, and hopefully that really evokes some interest with you. But ask away or email in to Miss Redstone if there's anything further you'd like to ask. Thank you.